So I kind of like hadn't done a video for a long period of time, so I thought that's what I would do. And on top of that, I haven't really wished all of you wonderful people Merry Season of Greetings, Happy New Yule, and all that kind of jazz. So I thought I'd do that right now. Anyway, whilst I was getting myself going first thing in the morning, and having myself a nice strong cup of coffee because I wanted to be a half asleep person who was getting more and more jittery as the morning progressed, I thought to myself, I really have to get the camera going, turn it on, and say hello to everybody all one more time. Prior to saying something of a meaningful nature, which does actually happen once in a while from me and does occasionally happen on this channel, uh, what I thought I'd do is just to say a big thank you to all the people who are still watching my older videos. A lot of that stuff I did for a particular purpose, and that was just to try and clear up some people's thinking, and I think it's still having that effect. I still get messages coming through on my various connected devices which say that someone's left a comment saying that's really relevant to me right now, and that kind of stuff. So keep watching, go back over the old stuff, have a look at it. I'm definitely a very different person now than I was when I put out those videos. A lot has happened for me personally. I've changed in terms of wisdom and character and all that kind of stuff, and I'm a bit deeper, less impassioned, less enraged, which means that I've actually got to put some real thought into what I do now, rather than just thinking I'm pissed off by something. I know what, I'm going to turn on the camera and be angry for a few minutes. So that's what I really should be doing. One thing I'll quickly tell you about is during the festival of the turning on of the Christmas lights in my local village, in my local city, I went to the Museum of the History of Science. Now, this is interesting for me personally because the history of science is essentially occultism. Alright? And I actually saw with my own eyes something that was used by, or believed to be used by, John Dee. He was an Elizabethan occultist at the time. And there was, stories being told about other people who owned some of the various, beautiful, steampunky type looking artifacts in this one particular museum. Things made of brass and things that's there to mark the seasons and the rest of it. And some of these things were owned by people who performed scientific experiments, proper scientific experiments of the day. But they were also occultists and spiritualists too. Now, I was thinking that maybe there's a big reason why magic is so attractive to a lot of people. It's because we're all trying to find out about the world, and we want to get some kind of hands-on, tangible, real experience of something. We don't quite know what, but of something. And so, we explore magic. Sometimes it takes us down one path, sometimes it takes us down another path, but if they hadn't properly worked everything out then, way back in the day, we can't properly work anything out now, because we're just an individual organic being having individual organic experiences. There's always going to be more questions than answers. Okay. Right, now, something a little bit more serious. I put out a video. Well, no, I didn't put out a video. I shared a video on my Facebook page, which I thought the people who are on my Facebook page would want to see. And it was initially it was a very beautiful expression of the history of the ideas of Christmas and Father Christmas and the rest of that, connected to Norse mythology. But at the end of this very good quality, high production video, there was a few things thrown in which I thought was a bit curious. So I'm getting the feeling that nowadays there's a bit more of a move towards some forms of negative usage of paganism than even there was in the 1990s, if you get my drift. So just be careful with what you're looking at and what you're sharing. Thank you. Things are getting crazier, and I think through all of the word all is inappropriate, through a lot of the alternative media and alternative spiritualities, these things are going to be used by bad people, and we will not always know, or you will not always know, that you are being used for some kind of like inappropriate or negative political purpose, which is not all about like goodness. It's all about separating us from our communities. It's all about teaching us to have hatred and to be violent or bigoted or undesirable. And I think that it's even more true now than it was 8-9 years ago when I first got on YouTube, where there was complexity out there. I mean, paganism itself is quite a broad church, so to speak, broad community, with people on one side of things being rather extremist and full of hatred and full of fundamentalism, and there were those who were further to the right of that, who took it to political extremes. And then there were those who were sort of like more moderate and full of saying they were the peacemakers and trying to like unify the world, and nice environmentalist ideas and feminist ideas and all the rest of that. And then there were those to the extreme side of that one particular lot who were like the extremist Marxist feminist lunatics. So you got like, we got to try and find the middle ground in everything, and we've got to learn to be very critical, even of the media sources that we feel are very close to our hearts. I mean, if we were to, let's say, read the Bible, it's like a magic mirror of your own soul. You will read into it what your feelings are and what your thoughts are and your vision for the future and your vision for society. It's not really a question of this is what the Bible says, therefore it's right. I mean, that's why you got the people like using the Bible to rail against homosexuality, but on the other hand they're still eating shellfish, for instance. But on the other hand you might find other people who are vegetarians and vegans. They might look at something, and I think it's the book of Daniel, which is all about these people who are in prisons, and they decide, no, we're just going to eat vegetables, and they sort of like ended up really, really healthy. So that's part of the problem. What you see and what you say you've seen in the videos and in the blogs and in all of the stuff out there, is that really what you've seen, or is that what you think? And if it's what you think, could it be wrong? It might be right, but could it also be wrong? Where it might be true, but is it also useful? Is it also beneficial? Is it also something which can be healthy and helpful for other people? How are you going to use the information that you have received and you have seen in a manner which is positive and useful? Okay, how are you going to use that to fight against negativity in your own life and your own community? How are you going to use that to fight against negativity inside yourself? A level of analysis has to be applied to even those things that we feel connects well with our soul, with our concept of self, with our vision of the way that the world should be, could be, or is. Okay? And it takes a bit of growth to reach that level of thought, which not everyone either can do or has done. Okay? Does that make sense? I think I probably explained that in a bit of a rambling kind of manner. But the examples are in nearly every culture, nearly every sect, nearly every spirituality or religion or group of art or set of artistic ideas in the world. And so looking at the information that you're perceiving with a critical eye, standing back, being skeptical, being a bit colder than you would normally, choosing to become less excited and excitable, despite the fact that you are being motivated to be excited and excitable by other people who are trying to persuade you, sell to you, change you for their benefits. Okay? That's like another step for you, that's what you have to, really, well, what I personally recommend or suggest that you do for your own personal benefit, and also for the benefit of those in your community and in your family and in your friendship circles. Okay, I just end on another note. very quickly. Some of you people may be aware that this is something called the holiday season. Alright? And there's going to be people who are going to approach you and say things to you. And those things might be using words which are contrary to your own particular path or spirituality. It's probably intended as a gift of love and compassion. So, relax. Just relax. Because we can all get a bit super sensitive when we interpret something in a certain way. So let's try not to. Okay? And let's try and see a gift of love the way that it's meant to be.